to other stories now. Displaced Palestinians in Gaza's Al-Mawasi area are navigating what to do today after Israeli strikes blasted a huge crater in the designated safe zone in southern Gaza before dawn, setting tents ablaze and burying Palestinian families under the sand. Palestinian officials said scores of people had been killed or injured in the strikes, with at least 19 dead bodies brought to hospital and other victims feared lost or buried. According to journalists on the ground, several bodies were recovered in the aftermath. This morning, Israel disputed the Palestinian casualty figures, but the Israeli military said it struck a command center for Hamas fighters it said had infiltrated the designated humanitarian area in the Al-Mawasi, a vast camp on sandy soil where the military has told hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to shelter since ordering them out of their homes. The Gaza Health Ministry, which compiles casualty figures, said hospitals had so far received 19 bodies. Other victims were still under the sand or on roads, and rescuers could not reach them. The Hamas-run government media puts the number of fatalities at more than 40. It said at least 60 others were wounded in the strikes, and many are still missing. The EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell says European Union is working on reaching a ceasefire and a hostage deal in the ongoing war in Gaza. He was speaking to reporters in Brussels on Monday, saying that those engaged in the war have no interest in ending it. Mr. Borrell visited Egypt's side of Rafah border crossing and said the European Union is ready to leverage its logistics to assist reopening the border crossing. He met with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Conflict in Gaza was triggered, as we remember, by Hamas-led militants who attacked southern Israel on October 7.
And we also have to focus our collective effort to achieve a ceasefire and a hostage deal in Gaza, while doing everything we can to improve the catastrophic humanitarian situation of people there. A ceasefire that has been announced so many times. We are almost there, but we are not there. Why? Why? Quite simple. Because those who are waging war have no interest in putting an end to it. So they are pretending, less and less pretending.
It was a rough night for Yulia Rodionova, who lives in the area where the Ukrainian drones struck in Moscow, Russia, overnight. She recalls hearing 3 explosions which seemed to get closer and closer to her apartment until the final one banged in very proximity, damaging the balcony and shattering the windows of her building. A piece of drone was later found on her balcony after the explosion. Rodionova says she'd seen 3 wounded persons being carried out from one of the apartment blocks after the attack. It's not clear, however, how much time restoring the damaged apartments will take, but for now she's staying with her sister. 1 woman was killed in the attack, and the Russian forces said they shot down at least 15 drones around Moscow. Over 30 flights were suspended as a result of the attacks. The overnight drone attacks damaged at least 2 high-rise apartment buildings in the Ramenskoye district of the Moscow region, setting several flats on fire. Meanwhile, Russia has reported new gains in eastern Ukraine today, saying Ukraine's own incursion into Russian territory had failed to distract Moscow from pursuing its offensive in the Donbass region. State news agency RIA quoted Sergei Shoigu, the Secretary of the Security Council, as saying Ukraine's incursion into Russia's Kursk region beginning on August 6th has been aimed at improving Kyiv's negotiation position and diverting Russian forces in Donbass. Russian news agencies quote the defense ministry as saying that Moscow's forces had captured 4 more villages in eastern Ukraine, although this cannot be independently verified. Shoigu said Russian forces were increasing the pace of their offensive, capturing almost 1,000 square miles or square kilometers over a period of 8 days from August to September. Now, China's ally in Asia, Russia's ally in Asia, beg your pardon, has announced that the Russian military will dispatch naval and air forces in to participate in drills in the waters and airspace of the Sea of Japan and the Sea of Okhotsk, organized by the Chinese military later this month. According to the Chinese Ministry of National Defense, the drills, which have been codenamed Northern Interaction 2024, aim to deepen strategic cooperation between the two sides and strengthen their ability to respond to security threats. The ministry notes that the drills have been planned according to the annual schedules and mutual consensus between China and Russia, and in the Chinese and Russian naval fleets will conduct their 5th joint maritime patrol in the Pacific Ocean. Furthermore, the Chinese Navy will participate in Russia's Ocean 2024 strategic exercise. The VOA's East Europe Bureau Chief, Miroslava Gongadze, joins us now. She's in Warsaw, Poland. Miroslava, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us on the program. Let's talk about the attack in Russia overnight. There have been no confirmations from the Ukrainian government, but is it safe to say that Ukraine was behind the attack?
Yes, the Ukrainian side is not commenting on this attack. However, from different sources, it looks like that was Ukraine who actually exercised this attack, and basically over 144 drones were in Russian airspace, specifically in the Moscow region. And as you said during the introduction, some of them were destroyed. However, some of them hit the target, and the target was specifically the energy infrastructure in Russia, and basically logistics hubs, including airports, that what Ukraine sees as a military targets, because from those airports Russia is attacking Ukraine. And we have to understand this is not the first time. Early this month, Ukraine already did some similar operation. It was less effective than this one. However, this one we had hit the targets. We have to understand that for 2.5 years, Russia is attacking Ukraine. Almost 10,000 civilians died in this time. Almost daily, almost nightly, Russian drones are coming to Ukraine. So Ukraine feels that they have a total right to reciprocate in this case. Studio.
So, Miroslava, there were 2 residential buildings that were hit in this attack. 1 person was killed, several more people injured. Was it really the target of the Ukrainian forces to hit residential buildings where possible innocent civilians were residing?
Absolutely not. But usually, how the drone attacks works, if the air defense system hit the drone, then the debris from the drones fell in different places. Ukrainians experiencing this a lot, and not only in the eastern Ukraine, but you have seen what happened in Lviv lately, and many people, many injured, and civilian buildings are hit by not maybe directly rockets, by debris of the rockets. So this is the casualties of the war, what we have seen today.
It is very likely that Russia will retaliate these attacks, although Ukraine is certainly used to them. They don't see Russian response as a retaliation. They see this as just Russia continuing its invasion of Ukraine. Those drone strikes will be retaliated, of course, but how are neighboring countries such as Poland preparing for possible impact?
I mean, first of all, I would like to mention that what happened today in London, that when the Secretary of State Blinken and the Foreign Secretary of Great Britain, they actually announced that that Iranian rockets were delivered in Russia, and they are anticipating a big attack from Russia on Ukraine. In terms of a drone that actually Iran helped to build and deliver to Russia as well, we see that more and more incidents on the border with NATO. And specifically 2 days ago, Latvia and Romania declared that Russian drones penetrated their airspace. And they said that experts says that possible Russia is testing NATO, and NATO is very reluctant to respond. However, today, Romanian parliament was discussing the special law to address this issue and needs of possibly react and shot the drones if they are entering their airspace. I have to remind you that, let's say, Romania doesn't even have the border with Russia. It's drones that fly into Ukraine on the western part of Ukraine, and they are entering Romanian airspace. Similar to other eastern border, I have seen how the Latvians, I've been to Latvian-Russian border recently, how they are preparing for possible attacks from Russia. They have over 450 kilometers of border with Russia and Belarus, and they have to be prepared. So all these countries are very, very they are on a high alert, and NATO is trying to figure out how to respond to this attack. However, this is the very high-stakes situation today.
Pretty interesting, Miroslava. Thank you again for breaking it down for us, what's currently going on with Ukraine's neighbors as regards the war in the country.
Thank you.